So today we're going to be checking out a newer discovery of mine that I've been loving a lot. This is kind of what I've been enjoying a lot lately. Woody, spicy fragrances for men. I kind of go through these phases where, you know, I'll get hooked on something. For a while, I was really starting to dive into the boozy stuff, then the kind of tobacco vanillas, and I still love all of that, but now I'm kind of finding myself gravitating towards and exploring these woods heavy fragrances, woods, spices, masculine, strong fragrances. And this one, of course, we're going to be checking out is Cartier Declaration Parfum version. So really, really cool bottle. Love this stuff. We'll just take a quick look at it right here. This is the 5 ounce, 150 ml bottle. One thing that is cool is that flips down and then you can spray. Flips back up, prevents it from being sprayed. Stuff like that's always cool. It's not that it really matters. It's probably gonna be sitting like this on the majority of your shelves 99% of the time. So you could really just leave it down like that at all times. But if you're like me, this is fun. So I'm putting it back up. Now, I did pick this one up from FragranceNet a little bit ago, and they still have it at the same price. Again, 150 ml for $114 with the FragranceNet 35% off code, which is linked down below. Make sure you click through that, and then that will automatically apply the code for this fragrance. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll make a new link and have it go directly to this, but also apply the code. You're welcome. Make it easy for you. So that way you'll get the best possible price. Currently, 35% off is what they're running. If they were to change that back to 37% off in the future, my links will also apply that as well. So those links down below always applies the best possible deal. Like always, we're going to be reviewing this one today. I'm going to tell you how it smells, how it performs, when you can wear it, and ultimately, if I think it's worth picking up, if that wasn't obvious already. Let's get into it. So we're going to start off with how this one smells. Went ahead and put it on paper too because I like to test things both ways. I've been testing it a lot on my skin, which is the most important, but also I like to get a feel for it on paper because reality is when you walk into department stores, a lot of people spray them on paper. And so I like to get a good idea, and it has developed a lot on this piece of paper here. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell you how it starts out. So when you first spray it on, you get this bitter orange note. That is the only top note listed here. And when you look at the rest of the notes, you may not think that you would pick up on like an orange that way because there's a whole lot of other notes in here, all mid and all base. But up top, you do pick up on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it off here, the entire thing. We have bitter orange up top. We have spices, cardamom, and cumin in the mid. We have leather, cedarwood, benzoin, vetiver, tolu balsam, and amberwood in the base. I'm excited to break into this and break it down because it's really quite cool. So the bitter orange will stick around for a good minute and a half, and then you'll find that it moves almost just completely away. Like you really don't pick up on the orange after a minute or two. And what starts to come in is the woods, is the spices. So I get a good amount of that cardamom. It's giving it this somewhat oriental, spicy, kind of sexy appeal. I also get the cedarwood. I get a bit of the vetiver. So it's a very woods heavy base kind of settling down here. I also pick up on the leather a good amount. Now, it's not a leather like ombre leather, Tuscan leather. It's not like a leather forward scent. It's more providing a base, a foundation for all the woods here and the spices. So you do get a little bit of the cumin note. Now, it's not crazy, overboard, super strong, but I will warn you that you do pick up on it. So depending on how sensitive you are to that note, depending on if you despise that note or don't like it or whatever, that will kind of sway the direction that you would want to go in when purchasing the scent or sampling it or whatever. Because it is there. Now, as that orange goes away, you start picking up on the woods and the spices. The cumin's going to be at its peak at that point. Now, as it continues to dry down, it will start to fade off in the distance a little bit, again, making room for all of the other woods and the spices and that leather note. But again, I just wanted to throw that out there. You do pick up on it. If you don't like that note, then I would be cautious when looking into this one. And a blind buy may be risky for you. Now, if you can tolerate a bit of a cumin note, if it doesn't really bother you, if you like that note, then no worries here. It's not going to be a cumin forward scent, so don't get your hopes up too much if you love it. But if it's there a little bit, you'll be expecting it and you'll enjoy it because it's a nice quality. It's not screechy or synthetic or like super dirty or smelling or anything like that. It's really quite smooth, even though it has that texture. Benzoin, you get a little bit of it. That's kind of giving off this powdery, ever so slightly sweet support. In terms of the amberwood that's listed in the base, I really don't get any of it. That's something that will maybe concern people. You see amberwood and then maybe they're thinking it's a blue fragrance mixed with a bunch of woods. It's not, no worries. So to me, this one is a warm, spicy, woody fragrance, very masculine, somewhat traditional. This stuff is great, you know, it's classiness to the next level. There are a lot of fragrances out there being released now or that have already been released that don't convey the type of emotions and the type of feelings and confidence that this one does. You know, a lot of fragrances are trending in the sweeter direction. Nothing wrong with that. You guys know I love my sweet fragrances. But with that comes something that is a bit more playful, perhaps a bit more youthful sometimes, a lot of times. And so not everyone's into that, right? I like it, but sometimes I do want a fragrance with some power behind it. I'm not even talking performance yet. We'll get there in a second, but power in terms of its delivery. This one punches through the air. It'll dominate other scents. It'll dominate just people around you. They're going to smell this and they're almost going to be compelled to say something because it's so strong with its delivery, the spices, the woods, the leather. It smells great. Again, we are looking at a Parfum concentration here. So longevity on my skin has been consistent. Very, very good at about 8-9 hours. Being that it is a Parfum, a higher concentration, the projection is not going to be monstrous. So this is more of a, you know, maybe arm's length fragrance, kind of semi-personal bubble, maybe a little bit outside of your personal bubble, depending on how much of a personal bubble you have. It'll get out there. It'll get you noticed. It more or less does a better job at leaving a trail. And also, like I mentioned, the profile of the scent is very good at just dominating the space. And so within that arm's length distance or whatever, it's going to be all people will really be able to pick up on. It does have that power. You know, it's not light and wispy and musky and citrusy that can kind of get wafted away and get overcome and overpowered. This one will push through. So performance is good. You wouldn't really want this to be a projection monster. With that, usually a common theme is the more youthful and playful fragrances like we talked about, and that's not what this is. This is for a confident, refined man that doesn't need reassurance, that doesn't need compliments. He knows, or at least he feels as though he smells good, and that's all he cares about. What's nice, though, is that other people will also think you smell good. So even if you're not at it for compliments, chances are, if you're carrying yourself, you're dressed nice, you look great, and you're wearing this, you will pick up some. And that's really it for the compliment factor. I mean, people who are going to like this are probably really going to like it. People who won't like how it smells, they're just not going to like it. There's really no gray area, just kind of black or white. Either you like it or you don't. You either will get compliments or you won't. Quality here is fantastic from opening to dry down. There's nothing synthetic. There's nothing unnatural about it. Some may think the cumin note really kind of strays it in a different way, but again, that's kind of personal preference. It's not a quality thing. All things considered, it's not terribly expensive either. You may see $115 at discounters and think that is pricey. And to be fair, $115 is a good chunk of money. But keep in mind, we're also talking 150 mils here. So going off of the price per milliliter, if you were to buy this as a 100 ml bottle, it would be running at about 76. Of course, it could be a bit more, could be a bit less, but you get the idea. 76 for 100 mils, that's not terrible. Again, it's not cheap, but it's also not Chanel and Dior and even Victor and Rolf like crazy expensive. Price per mil wise, this one is right on target for me. Do I think it's worth a pickup? Of course I do, if you're into this sort of thing. If you're a blue fragrance bro, which I love my blue fragrance bros, I'm one as well, love my blue fragrances, but if you are one of them, or an Invictus bro, or someone like that, who likes the young, playful stuff, stay far away from this for a while until you work your way into it or sample it. Who knows, maybe you'll just love it. But I would recommend against that. My guys that are watching this that are mid-late 20s and above, and you're into woodsy, spicy fragrances, I would jump all over this. Now's the perfect time to be busting it out and wearing it. It is nice and cold outside, at least if you live somewhere where it does cool off. It's a great time of year. Spring through, I would say fall through spring, spring through fall, spring, fall. fall, winter, that time is when you would be best wearing. Alrighty, that's going to do it for me. Let me know your thoughts on Declaration Parfum by Cartier if you've smelled it. Again, I'm super happy with this stuff. I think the bottle looks great. The color of the fragrance itself is very attractive. It really does represent the scent. A little bit woody, smoky, spicy, all of that good stuff. Cool bottle, cool details. It looks ultra classy. When it's sitting on your shelf, it's going to look more expensive than it is. Remember, you will find a link to this one down below, along with the Fragrance Net 35% off link. I will go ahead and combine them, but all that stuff is down there. Always use the 35% off link that I post in my videos to get the best possible deal. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.